Hey guys, it's Heavy back here with another speed review video. I did some background research by googling best mobile incremental games and checking out the shittiest looking sites and clicked like 50 cookies while at it. Clickpocalypse 2. This is a port of a web game with the same name. I was first greeted by the most horrendous Finnish translation I've ever seen, but I managed to change the language. I didn't really care about the game that much, but it's not because it would be bad. The reason is just that it felt too idle for me, and the gameplay lacked something deeper meaning and goal. There was really no benefit for being more active. It does progress offline though, which is a big plus, and it's not heavily monetized either, so I see people enjoying this. 6.5 out of 10. Billionaire. This game was all over those top 10 lists, so I basically had to check it out. What I encountered was a box opening simulator that asked me to watch ads every 2 minutes. Under the fancy surface, the mechanics are basically the most basic incremental mechanics, so basically like Cookie Clicker. The only thing it seemed to do differently was that you could decorate your room, which only apparently brings visual value. I'm glad I got this Grim Reaper though, I hope he takes me away from these games. 4 out of 10. Pickcrafter. I think I had a seizure while I tried this game. It just throws so much at you at once. It feels like watching 4 Michael Bay movies simultaneously. I was just pressing buttons away because I was told to press them and I had little to no idea what was happening, and suddenly I was playing whack-a-mole. Afterwards I felt like quack-a-mole. I feel like this could actually be an okay incremental, but the presentation and phasing needs some serious adjusting. Needless to say, I didn't play it for long, which makes me a bit reluctant to give a rating, but let's say 5.5 out of 10. Tower of Hero. This is a surprisingly decent incremental. It's quite unique, at least compared to most mobile incrementals. You spawn heroes which climb floors of enemies and try to get as high as you can. You can either spawn them by tapping or passively, and there's abilities which you can use on items. I quite enjoyed the gameplay, but there's one huge issue which made me quit the game. The offline progression is worthless. Even when you're offline for a day, you get like 5 minutes worth of progression, which is a big no-no for idle games on mobile. 7 out of 10. Art Inc. Another of the incrementals I saw on the list was Art Inc. I tried to be open-minded, even though I assumed it was just another AdCap clone. I was wrong. It's actually like those old Facebook games, like Crime City. You have things producing money, but they have a set limit how long they accumulate without you collecting them. There's also this auction mechanic, which seems really detached from the rest of the game, where you can buy new paintings. It's not as bad as I thought it would be, but it's not good either. I do see some casual gamers enjoying this, but not an incremental enthusiast. 5 out of 10. Incremental Unlimited. So here's an actually different incremental game from the rest. It has polynomial growth and it goes to huge numbers. The gameplay is nothing too special, quite active, but still I played it for the longest among these games. It's quite unpolished. For example, when you click the gear you expect options, but you're taking the statistics and achievements, which are just unformatted plaintext. The mechanics are also explained quite badly in the game, and the offline progress doesn't really work. I do however know from experience that implementing a proper offline progression for a game like this is quite hard, but there's always some ways. There's automation, but its existence is hidden in the achievements lists, so I didn't initially realize it had that. There's also some automation gated behind just mindless clicking. Even with all these negative sides, I still enjoyed it the most among these games, and I feel like it can be even better. In a way, its simplicity and uniqueness is charming. 7.5 out of 10. Illuminati Adventure. So even before I installed this, I knew it was just another adventure capitalist clone due to the capitalist buzzword on the name, and I wasn't wrong. It's basically another adventure capitalist clone. It didn't use the same numbers though, unlike some even more blatant copies. I noticed it tried doing something a bit different. There's a division between good and evil business, and evil business costs fisting. You can apparently get fisted under the prestige tab. It seems like it has a bit more effort put into it than your average AdCap clone, but it's still nothing extraordinary. 5 out of 10. Idle skilling. So this is apparently quite well liked game, and in this case I also just have to say this game is just not for me. It has all these different mechanics like fishing, mining, fighting, training, crafting, some of which are connected to other parts. For example, fishing doesn't directly benefit anything, neither does mining, but you get stuff from those you can use to craft things that helps fighting. You also need to visit the respective screens to get offline progress, which is kinda weird. It's just a combination of too many detached mechanics which leads to micromanagement, which drives me away. Nothing inherently wrong in the game though. You should give it a try if you haven't. You might enjoy it a lot more than I did. 7 out of 10. Cookie Clicker. So finally the official Cookie Clicker port has arrived. If it were another clone, I wouldn't even try it. But the original one has so much nostalgia value to me, as it was the first incremental I ever played. All of the mechanics from the web version hasn't been implemented yet, but the port seems decent already. It gets a solid 8 out of 10 from me, but just from nostalgia value alone. It is a bit outdated compared to some modern day incrementals, but it still holds enjoyment in my heart. Antimatter Dimensions. 0 out of 10. To be honest, it would be a bit wrong rating my own game. I have quite a bit of things I'm not satisfied in, but speaking of just the mobile port, Kajfik has done a really great job on it. If I would start speaking of things I'm not satisfied, it would require another video. I rate Kajfik 10 out of 10.